You said 92% of coverage of Trump is negative on TV. Jeff Bezos just came out saying he's planning on buying CNN. What are your thoughts if Jeff Bezos now owns Washington Post and ends up buying and owning CNN? What happens to media?
I don't know. CNN has been so badly left-wing. Zucker's done such a terribly one-sided hatchet job that it probably can't get a whole lot worse without losing all of its viewers. So it depends on what Bezos wants to do. I've been very disappointed that Bezos has not imposed more order on the Washington Post. I mean, the Washington Post used to be a serious newspaper. Right now, it's a left-wing propaganda rag, and that's really tragic. If you'd had the scale of scandal that the Biden family has in the 1970s, imagine when Woodward and Bernstein went to see Bradley, the managing editor, and said, we want to dig into this Watergate thing. And he said, nah, skip it. Let's not bother Nixon. It's inconceivable. Yet we have all sorts of evidence, eyewitnesses, laptop computer data that the Biden family, not Hunter Biden, the Biden family has been engaged in absolute corruption. And the New York Times, the Washington Post, all these places, CNN, all of them have hidden it because they're trying to protect the bunny in the basement. And I think that, it would be interesting. I'm very sad that Bezos has not insisted on some level of professionalism at the Washington Post.
So then my question goes to Fox, because if I'll turn your attention to this one part of an interview you did on Fox a few weeks ago, I think with Harris Faulkner. I want to get your reaction on this. This is you on Fox News on September 9th, I believe.
Progressive district attorneys are anti-police, pro-criminal, and overwhelmingly elected with George Soros' money, and they're a major cause of the violence we're seeing because they keep putting the violent criminals back on the street.
I'm not sure we need to bring George Soros into this.
I was going to say you get the last word, Speaker.
He paid for it. I mean, why can't we discuss the fact that millions of dollars he spent?
I agree with Melissa. George Soros doesn't need to be a part of this conversation.
Okay. So it's verboten.
All right, we're going to.
I mean, that's got to be one of the most uncomfortable moments of TV, whether it's Fox and you're seeing Murdoch's sons recently giving money to the Democratic Party. So the reason why I'm saying this is, if Fox goes left and an interview like that happens, I want to get your reaction on that, period. But if Fox goes left, what's the only media channel that's left for the right to, give their own side of the argument?
Well, I mean, first of all, what you saw was a mistake. And then Fox had no problem with talking about Soros. And in fact, the next day, she apologized for the way it was mishandled. And what had happened was
Who's she? Harris or the lady in the yellow? Okay.
Harris Faulkner. No. Look, the other woman is a professional Democrat and was doing her job, which is to clutter it up and try to not let us score points against Democrats. Harris, I think, because we were separated, it was all virtual. I was, I think, actually in Rome at the time. And so Harris was a half step back in sort of sorting it out because it wasn't like we were on the same couch. The next day I did her show and she openly apologized and said, look, we would never cut you. We love having you on, et cetera. So I think it was actually a technical mistake. Now, having said that, if at some point Fox decides to become a left-wing establishment channel, there will be 3 or 4 channels, probably starting with Newsmax, but there will be 3 or 4 different channels competing to replace Fox. I don't think the Fox audience is going to go with Fox if it becomes a left-wing channel. Nor, by the way, when I look at their lineup, I don't think that Tucker or Sean or Laura are about to become moderates. So they would have a long way to go. And I do Fox and Friends all the time, and I feel very comfortable doing all these shows. And generally speaking, they're probably not quite as far to the right as they were under Ailes, but they're still far and away the most effective conservative vehicle in the country.
Well, Tucker's coming up for renewal of a contract. If he was an athlete, he's underpaid because he's getting $6 million and Hannity's getting 25, and he just passed him up on viewership. I know you're friends. You probably can't say anything about it, but did you watch Tucker yesterday with Tony Bublinski, the guest he had on?
No, I've seen outtakes from it, but I didn't watch the whole show.
What's your reaction with the story of Tony coming out with the partnership of Hunter? I know you went into it briefly earlier when I was asking you about Bezos and CNN, but what are your thoughts about it? And why is it that no one's covering it? It's like almost saying, I heard somebody say the other day, I think it was on 60 Minutes, or one of the hosts said, well, we won't cover it because everything is speculation, nothing. We don't cover stories like this if it isn't 100%. What are your thoughts about what we're seeing with Tony and Hunter Biden?
Well, first, that comment's a lie. They spent 3.5 years covering a Russian story about Trump that turned out to be totally false. Both the New York Times and the Washington Post got Pulitzer Prizes for covering lies, which they never returned the prizes, but their entire prize was based on lies. So if you're on the left, you can do anything you want to and they'll protect you. If you're on the right, they can smear you and claim that it's good journalism. Let's just start with honesty. Second, I just did a 30-minute video, which is available at Gingrich 360, on the Biden family corruption. And I think I outline it with quotes and with video and lay the whole thing out. It's much more than Hunter. It's a family business. It's his two uncles, it's his father, and they were just out going around the planet scooping up money. Clearly a blatant violation of public trust. And it's an astonishing story. It involves hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, this is not some small, jaywalking problem. I have seen excerpts from Boblinski. He was a naval officer. He has a good reputation. We have some mutual friends who think very highly of him. But again, what you have is the entire establishment, Twitter, Facebook, all the major media are they're like a Greek phalanx. They're all lined up to protect Biden, and so they want to make sure that the bunny in the basement is safe while they go and attack the bear. And that's what this race is all about. Do you think the world's dangerous and we need a bear? In which case, Donald Trump's a pretty good candidate. Or do you think that Donald Trump is the problem and we could really survive as a country with a bunny rabbit as our president, which I think is just laughable, impossible. And I'm very interested to see how people vote next week, because I think the more we watch Biden, things like referring to Kamala Harris's wife, which he did yesterday, or the day before referring twice to George when he meant Donald Trump, or announcing he was running for the Senate 3 or 4 days ago. I mean, the more you watch Biden, the more you know this is not a guy who is really ready for prime time.